Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back. We are getting started here with show number 2 of the weekend, our second Cabral HouseCall. My ability or my chance to be able to answer our community's questions, our global health community, from people all over the world asking their wellness, weight loss, anti-aging questions, health coaching questions, you name it. We are here to do our best, try to serve you to the best of our ability, draw upon many hundreds of thousands of client appointments, decades worth of labs and knowledge that we've been able to and fortunate enough to accumulate so that hopefully we can pass this knowledge on to others. I know there's a lot of integrative health practitioners listening to the show, a lot of doctors, healthcare practitioners, and we'd love to have you. Anything that we can do in order to help you better help your people, that's certainly a big goal of mine and my team's as well. So I love reading these questions. I never know what they're going to be. I simply open up my giant Ask Cabral Pages document that my team is nice enough to put together, and I pick right back up where we left off. So yesterday we went over, I think, about 7 or 8 questions from the community. Let's see what we chatted about yesterday, and then we'll get right into today's questions. So we spoke about heavy weightlifting in women and potential prolapse-based issues. I remember us talking about pelvic floor issues. We spoke about different types of bacteria found on a stool test that we may want to get rid of. We talked about eating before and after the workouts and how we did an episode on that. We talked about ammonium chloride, sometimes found in certain types of licorice. And we had 2 more questions after that. I know we talked about higher cholesterol, what to do if it's genetic, and I use that in air quotes as well. And the last one, we went over what happens when you have no energy, you have brain fog, you're dizzy, you have a difficult time exercising, no energy, etc., etc. So I gave the different typical reasons as to why and what labs would hold your answers. So hopefully you tuned in. That was episode 1590, and today you can head on over to stevencabral.com/1591 for all of today's questions if you want to follow along. So thanks for joining me here today. Let's dive right into the show. The first question is from Duane. Duane says, "Hello, I'm surprised Dr. Cabral hasn't talked about C60 yet. Or has he? I've searched his podcast and I haven't seen it listed." Duane. All right, Duane wrote in on May 2nd. It is now June 7th. No, it's June 14th. It is June 14th. I'm recording this just a couple days before and recording on June 11th, and it's June 14th. Okay, so, well, I've recorded it not too long ago. Let's look it up for you, Duane. So anytime you have a question, I know Duane's already looked this up, but go to stevencabral.com/podcast. It was probably talked about actually after you wrote in, and I'm just going to type in C60, and we'll go over that specific form of the molecule used in an olive oil. And I know that I just talked about this. Oh, you know what? I might have written it in as carbon 60 because it's also called carbon 60. And there it is, episode 1577. You will find that answer, Duane. A lot of people are using C60 for energy, for brain fog, anti-aging, etc. So why haven't I done a bigger show on it? Well, here's the reason why. I don't go all in on things that aren't backed enough by long-term research, larger clinical studies, and things that are more made in a laboratory. So I'm not really worried about all of the vitamins that we know about, all the minerals that we know about, and certainly not at mega doses. What I look at is, like, for example, and I've talked about this before, I'm an advocate of a lot of these anti-aging things. I'm an advocate of resveratrol, but until we had resveratrol, it was hard to absorb. So it was people just wasting their money. So I wasn't going to recommend it. I'm a big fan of nicotinamide riboside or nicotinamide mononucleotide or different versions of NR, essentially, or things that increase NAD. So I'm a fan, but the problem is, if you take those and you don't know better, well, you're actually depleting a lot of your methyl-based donors. So if you're not taking a activated B complex along with it, then you might be doing more harm than good in the long term, not the short term, the long term. A lot of people are just recreationally using metformin, and they shouldn't be using metformin because they don't have diabetes. The problem is it can dampen your response to exercise. So these are you have to be careful with a lot of these anti-aging things that have good short-term use or good use in specific populations, but not for the general population. So it's not that I'm for or against C60, but I'm simply reserving my right to recommend or speak about it yet. And the reason is that I want to do more research. Any recommendation I give, I want people to know that it's trusted, it's safe, and I would use it myself. And so that's why there's just going to be a little bit more due diligence on my part before I would ever recommend it to our community. And of course, I want to do it in the safest way possible, that it's not oxidized in the solution that it's in. Okay. Thank you, Duane. Liz is up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I'm a longtime listener and often refer my family and friends to your website and podcast. I'm writing on behalf of my 78-year-old father who has two severe conditions: bronchiectasis, I don't think I could pronounce that properly, and peripheral neuropathy. My father has been on antibiotics off and on for years for the recurrent chest infections and excess mucus that come with his, let's just call it bronchiectasis, and make it difficult for him to breathe. He's also had surgery 3 times, most notably April 2020, over 3 years to remove excess mucus from the lungs. Antibiotics don't seem to work. How to get to the root cause of this? My father's had peripheral neuropathy in his feet and calves for many years. He's not a type 1 or type 2 diabetic. He's tried many remedies over the years: foot massage, changed diet, some tool at the chiropractor's office, and hasn't seen relief. What would you advise? Thank you in advance. Liz, I'm happy to help with this. I actually have just recently did a podcast on this as well, and it's a full podcast, and I would love you to check that out. All right, let's find it for you specifically. It's recent, so I know that I'm going to be able to find it. And it's episode 1579. So you wrote in on May 3rd. And what I'd like you to do is head on over to stevencabral.com/1579. The podcast is on how to improve healthy lung function. I give you all the possible causes, what to do about it naturally. And my biggest recommendation is also running the Big 5 labs. I don't know that you'll be able to run the Big 5. If you're able to, it's a great investment. And the reason is this: that you need to figure out what the underlying root causes are. And I couldn't tell you what those are over a podcast. I don't know what they are, because I would be just grasping at straws to just try to figure out, okay, what's going on here? What's the nutrition look like? Is there any movement, exercise? Is there scarring of the lungs from previous infections? What is going on? I don't know. But I know that if I were to have those 5 labs from your father in front of me, I'd say, oh, okay, there's this, and this. There's heavy metals, there's gut issues, there's whatever it might be. And then we would begin to work the process. So you might want to work with a local instead. I mean, you can do the labs through Equilibrium Nutrition, but remember, we don't own the lab companies. We simply open access and open source those labs to you. But you might want to work with a qualified functional medicine doctor or naturopathic doctor or integrative health practitioner level 2 in your area. Okay. So hopefully that was helpful, and definitely check out that podcast as well for many more in-depth answers. Jen is up next. All right. Sorry, is the wrong part of my document. Freddy is up next. And this was written in on May 4th. Dear Dr. Cabral, like many others that write to you, I'm extremely grateful for all that you do. Your sincerity is palpable, and commitment to helping others is inspiring. I have recommended the Cabral Concept, the Rain Barrel Effect book, and Equilibrium Nutrition products to friends and family. Are there any plant-based alternatives to collagen or bone broth? I'm looking for the training and longevity benefits that come from these products, but in a plant-based form. Any ideas or suggestions on this are much appreciated. Okay, you've got a few questions in here, so why don't we take this one at a time? The first question is a plant-based collagen. Okay, there are a bunch of brands out there that say they are plant-based collagen, but that's more marketing than anything else. You can't get collagen unless that collagen came from an animal or source with collagen. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't build up your collagen without taking a collagen-based product. We recommend a product called Advanced Collagen Support by Equilibrium Nutrition. I use it. I think it's a great product. I've seen results in my practice with it. It's fantastic. However, let's say that you don't want to use any animal-based products. I respect that. I understand that. So let's look at what would build up collagen. And you know what? This is a great idea for another podcast. So I'm going to do a full podcast on building up collagen from a plant-based perspective. But really what you want to look at is what's going to help you build up your own collagen naturally. And you can at least go with what I've talked about before, which is the vitamin D, vitamin C, and zinc. Okay? Now, that's for sure. Like, that's a given, but it has to be in addition to all of the other amino acids that your body needs in order to make tissue or, collagen. And so using a vegan-based protein powder that comes from pea and rice, or just pea is okay, or hemp, those are all great. I like a mixture of them. The daily nutritional support is pea and rice, and predominantly pea protein. And you're going to be able to get a lot of those amino acids to help build up the collagen as well. So that's a nice place to start. Another great one is glutamine as well. And you'll get some glutamine in all protein powders for the most part, but you're welcome to take additional glutamine too if you'd like. Now, I'll do a full show on this because there's a lot more to it for sure with anti-aging through plant-based nutrition, and I'm happy to share that on a future show. So why don't I actually write that in there? Okay, that is now written in for a potential future show topic. All right, that was from Freddy. Oh, Freddy, you have another question. How can you maximize your omega-3 absorption while taking supplements? Should you take the supplements on an empty stomach with food, early versus late in the day, all at once, or split your dosages into 2 or 3? Any herbs, foods, or macros that help the body absorb them better? Omega-3s are so important, and I want to make sure I'm taking them correctly after being on my current regimen for at least 6 months before I do the omega-3 testing. All the best, Freddy. All right, Freddy, this is an easy one. Take your omega-3s with food. You can take them with your smoothie in the morning, your lunch, or your dinner at night. I take my omega-3s at dinner at night, and I tell all of my private wellness clients to do the same. And that's because if you get any, most people will never get any regurgitation or anything like that from them, but better to do it at night than during the day. The thing is, a lot of companies have oxidized versions of them, which is why you get a lot of that burping and you're tasting the fish oil, which you shouldn't do. So I would take 2 capsules of the omega-3 support or 1 teaspoon a night, very simply with any meal. It's very easy. And when you take your omega-3 test, you'll see the results. I mean, that's the thing is like, we know what we do works because we lab test it. Like, that's the nice thing. And I really think that where we're at right now in this day and age with science, that we're able to say, listen, whatever you're using is working or it's not. And you need to increase the dosage a little bit or switch to a different brand. That's all. So hopefully that was helpful, Freddy. But yeah, better to take it mid-meal, actually, your omega-3s, and there's less chance for that coming back up on you. All right, Carrie's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. Thank you for taking my question today. I'm a Cabral Concept groupie, I like to call myself. Thank you for educating us who are eager to learn every day. My question is in regards to the HPT axis. I was recently tested for my thyroid stimulating hormone and T4. My TSH was high, over 7, T4 was normal. My question is, since this appears to be an issue with the pituitary gland, does that mean that the hypothalamus and pituitary gland are not functioning properly? How does it mean that my thyroid itself is fine? I listen to all your thyroid podcasts and just need some dedicated or detailed clarification on where exactly the problem lies in order to properly treat it. In addition, if I understand it correctly, it seems as though my pituitary gland, or the thermostat, so to speak, is giving the wrong signal to the thyroid since my T4 is normal. Yes, I'm very symptomatic, hair dry and falling out, tired, racing heart, etc. My symptoms are mixed between typical thyroid and adrenal problems. Please explain until I'm able to get more thorough labs done. Thank you so much. Okay, Carrie, I've actually done much more in-depth shows that definitely you missed. Not your fault, of course, but let's go to stevencabral.com/podcast. I think I have a whole category now on thyroid. Let me just find that. So you see all these fun little graphics along the top now? And just click on thyroid. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 shows on the thyroid. And if I do 20 times, let's just say 22 minutes, we're going to get about 440 minutes. Divide that by 60, and that is a little over 7 hours of thyroid talk. I'm telling you right now, if you have a thyroid issue, if you know someone with a thyroid issue and you listen to those podcasts or even the latest 10, you are going to be able to figure it out. Because just like our friend Carrie here ran her numbers, or especially if you do Integrative Health Practitioner Institute and you do level 2 with the testing, you will see exactly why people's thyroid are off. And I can just tell you, so Carrie's thyroid is off because of either lower selenium, lower B6, lower iodine, or higher levels of cortisol or stress, potentially lower magnesium, blood sugar dysregularity, or she has metals or viral-based issues like mercury, aluminum, cadmium, arsenic that's converting her T4 over to T3 and potentially to reverse T3. It should convert to T3, obviously. And that's why, T4, okay, good. So you're low normal on T4. But your TSH is a 7, so the thyroid is not functioning properly. Your brain, your thermostat, as you said, your hypothalamus, is telling the pituitary gland to tell the thyroid to make more thyroid hormone. But you look at T4 and you say, oh, that's pretty normal. The problem is you never tested T3, and I know that you are saving maybe up for the stress hormones, mood, and metabolism test that will give you all of this information. So that's the thing, Carrie. I think there's even a payment plan now for that. Again, you can always run it with whoever you want. I have no problem with that. I've always said that. But if you run it with Equilibrium Nutrition, you're getting to speak with one of my personally trained health coaches. Myself or my medical director has looked at your lab, given notes on what to do. So you're going to really get a full program because there's something going on with your thyroid. That's why you need to run cortisol along with it, estrogen and progesterone, DHEA, testosterone, vitamin D, T4, T3, TSH, TPO antibodies, and then your insulin and hemoglobin A1C. So it's one of those things. For sure, there's something going on. We can find it. And if you want more in-depth knowledge, definitely recommend going to StephenCabral.com/topic/thyroid, or just clicking on the graphic at the top. All right, let's get another question. I am moving on to Jenna. Jenna is up next. We always go in the order of which the question is asked. Hi, Dr. Cabral. Love your work. I've been learning so much from you. I wanted to ask my friend who's been dealing with intracranial hypertension, causing severe headaches and dizziness. She's also dealing with itchy hives on the skin. She went to a bunch of conventional medicine doctors, including neurologists, that put her on diuretics. My friend finally realized it may be due to breast implant illness, and she got them explanted. The symptoms I mentioned have not gone away, and though it's been a couple of months since the surgery. It's also possible it hasn't been long enough for her body to detox, or she should be doing specific detox methods following the explant. Or does functional medicine offer any other insights into the potential root causes for intracranial hypertension, since it's possible it's being caused by something unrelated? I know there has to be a better solution than just taking drugs to mask the symptoms. Any specific labs she should run, etc. Thank you so much. Okay, Jen, thank you, and thank you to everybody who's written in today. This may not be that much of a mystery, and I don't know why a lot of these doctors would not have found it, because to me, there's a second symptom that is giving away the intracranial hypertension, and that's hives. If someone is dealing with hives and then all of a sudden getting headaches as well, we'll call it intracranial hypertension, which means tension essentially on the cranium with all of the different, well, I was about to start nerding out there and start talking about internal carotid arteries and how everything is fed through the brain and the cerebral arteries, but we'll save everyone that for right now. So basically, there's blood flow to all of the different areas of your body. And when there's squeezing on some of those arteries, and there's this tension inside of the head, and we can feel that those headaches are essentially that tension. But when there's also hives, because that could be multiple reasons, right? That could be, it could be so many different reasons. However, I just want to make this clear. I'm not giving you a diagnosis. We're not treating any disease. We're not trying to cure any disease. What we're doing is we are giving people a different perspective, and that's what it's all about. If someone comes to me, immediately I'm saying, okay, this very well could be a mast cell issue. We're looking at a histamine-based response. And I've done many shows on histamine, and I would love you to go to StephenCabral.com/podcast, type in that keyword histamine, and be able to see the different shows on issues related to histamines. And one of the things that you'll find is this, you can find constriction or dilation of the blood vessels. So what happens is it leads to headaches. It leads to hives and itchiness and sometimes brain fog and irritability and low mood. So I would love you to look into the connection between the hives, which would be potentially a mast cell, mastocytosis, histamine-based issue. A lot of talk about cytokine release lately. Well, that's part of the equation, and how that would lead to intracranial tension or intracranial hypertension. And by doing that, you'll be able to, at least initially, go on a lower histamine-based nutrition plan, while at the same time running a lab like the Candida metabolic and vitamins test, along with that minerals and metals test. We call that our starter kit, while potentially using magnesium and vitamin C and a product called HisPro, using products that we know are going to help degrade histamines, lower the overall load, while also working on the gut because there may be gut issues involved, and that's what the lab testing will help with as well. So, Jenna, hopefully that was at least a place to get started. To me, that's what I would lean to right away until proven otherwise in terms of lab testing. And I hope that your friend gets the help that she deserves, and I know that she will. Just don't give up. Keep on down the path. You will find out your answers, as we all do, as long as we don't give up. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning into the show. It's always a pleasure speaking with you every Saturday and Sunday on our Cabral HouseCalls. And of course, if it was helpful, if the information was helpful, please do feel free to share it with anyone you believe it could serve. Before you go, I wanted to ask you this question. What if I could teach you in just a couple of hours how to transform your thyroid, hormones, adrenal, cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight loss, energy, mood, brain, pregnancy, anti-aging, or many other health-related issues? After 20 years in private practice, after seeing and overseeing 250,000 client appointments, I sincerely feel I have the real-world data and have found the answer you've been searching for. So what I've done is spent hundreds of hours of my own time refining what you need to know in order to uncover your underlying root cause health issues and then begin to rebalance the body and bring it back to a state of robust health and wellness. I'm going to teach you exactly what I do in my private practice so you can understand how you got here and now what you need to do in order to heal. You'll receive all of the important success checklists, protocols, and even ways to customize it to make the program fit your busy life. And you'll get all of this at a fraction of the price. Let me save you the time, money, energy, stress, and frustration of not knowing what to do next. Instead of reading dozens of books on the topic and seeing multiple practitioners, I will condense everything that you need to know in just a few hours of video tutorials that you can watch and listen to anywhere. Together, we will make this healing process an enjoyable one that you can take with you for the rest of your life. I wish you all of the best of health and happiness, and I hope to be able to guide you on your healing journey through my Health Results Accelerators. Simply choose the health imbalance you're currently suffering from, and by the end of today, you'll know what went wrong and how to get well again. I guarantee it. For details, head over now to stevencabral.com/courses.